Hi, Gordana. I'm gonna address this question about the ISO. Let's see, the 17100 kind of standard here. I kind of want to mention this because I've got a lot of experience in all this auditing stuff. I mean, even back here at MyCom, this is old business cards. I had the logo of the certification body on it. That was back in 2000. Oh, 2005-ish, 2006, and when I'd been department manager, several departments, and finally we got slammed with a massive external audit and kind of and had to go and do and clean up like 50 pages of red points from an external audit. And so my job changed to be quality manager of the entire kind of cycle and cleaned it all up. And I got certified as an ISO 9000 auditor out of that. And and then I went on and to other companies and stuff. I mean, the next job was here. Actually, this business, now this is an old business card. Okay, this is transperfecttranslation.com. But see, it says there on my, I was a salesperson. I was a director of sales. You know what it says there? It says I was an ISO 91000 internal auditor on my sales card, my business card as salesperson. That was a gold mine of selling because there's no bluffing in this one, folks. You go into enterprise level sales, boom, you put the business card, and then they tell them you're a certified auditor. Boom, they're they're just. And I remember even coming to Sistran the first few days. We had a user conference. My first couple days, and my colleagues gave them demos, and all these. I was director of EMEA for Sistran for professional services and technical accounts and all enterprise sales. And we came to this user conference, and like I said, my colleagues gave them demos of the new version, all this stuff, and I just said, all you need to know out there by our enterprise customers that a certified ISO 9000 auditor. Boom. It just was, and lots of experience doing this. And then when I came on to here at SAP, I actually don't even have a business card at SAP. I can't believe I don't have a business card. I need to get one here. Um, where I actually led the entire certification, recertification process for 6 years for all of the teams, all the acquired teams in France, which was a lot of teams, 700 people. So at least that's just the development teams. I'm not talking about the sales people and the marketing people and all that. But so I've you know got a lot of experience, probably on 10, 12 years of doing that in some really, really difficult times. I mean, I remember at MyCom, I we were go I they changed the job, and I took in the new, it was like the Ethan Hunt Mission Impossible, okay, to kind of clean it up. And it was a startup. We had turned from a startup into we were growing really rapidly, adding a new country every year, doubling the size actually the product team every year. I mean, it was inevitable that we would have to kind of come to a point where we'd have to kind of reshift things. And it came now 4 or 5 years into being there, and it was the right time to kind of take a step back and kind of relook at things, and to begin to find holes and find gaps and do things. And we turned that into just a leading company. I mean, they are doing it really well today. I actually came back to the translation into the language industry. I should have stayed there. I mean, because I was just they're just doing some really cool stuff, and I was one of the core people of the team back then. And but I could look back at the whole thing and see the whole thing. I wasn't oblivious or unfamiliar at all with all the process. Because half the departments I had actually started them and then handed them off, but it was just growing. And so they had to need some cleanup, and needed to kind of relook at things and do that. So lots of good experience doing this ISO kind of stuff. I mean, I want to say ISO stuff. All these process business process kind of standards, and there are several of them, and I've actually given a couple of them. I given a couple of webinars on this. I gave one actually at Prozzy, at Prodigy in 2012 at their virtual conference. Every year at the end of September they have a virtual conference. I gave one on the essentials for successfully planning and passing certification audits on the ISO 91000 and other quality standards. Okay, really the difference between these is so minimal. You can just reapply the same things to other process standards because they're quality standards because they're it's just different questions and different points to address, but the same method is used for cost. And then I actually gave for Gala. I gave a webinar in 2015. It was 30th of April, yeah, April 30th, 2015. I gave one on the ISO 9000 certification survival kit, I called this. And I said how to just successfully pass an audit in less time. And I can say that because here at SAP, um, the first round of teams we kind of did it. We did a regular kind of standard thing, and then the second round, I just said I can speed this up, totally speed this up. And I actually was convincing the manager, kind of the executive manager actually on the site. I actually set up a quality review board here in France, and they already had one in Germany. The headquarters said no, but I want one here too. I'm gonna set it up. So I actually ran the entire thing, and actually just really wanted to avoid what I had lived through before. And it went really, really well. And what we did was I got down to coaching people where I just promised, I packaged the auditing coaching to where I said that I could do an intro. I just wanted a 30-minute intro with the teams. I would do groups of teams. We'd identify teams that had to be audited. And I said I want to do a 30-minute intro with them. And then I will only do 4 30-minute audit sessions, separate sessions, usually 2 weeks, 1 to 2 week intervals. It's always the auditing, and we're going to do this audit coming up quickly, and you got 5 weeks to do it, so you got 4 weeks to train them, and so I'd say, okay, I'm going to do this with 4 30-minute sessions once a week, and I'm going to scrape them to death. Just scrape them out, just like an auditor's going to do. I'm going to be that auditor, and I only need 4 30-minute sessions, and then they're going to have, their extra time to kind of think through that and go through that and work through it, and then be prepared to go through an audit. Sometimes those 30-minute sessions, they would ask to actually extend it to 60 minutes because they just found it super helpful. And I'm not saying that they found it super helpful. You just go look at my LinkedIn profile. I've got so many written recommendations about how successful that was from all of my colleagues. I don't know, I got 10 to 15 of them just on ISO 9000. And they all said, hey, this was just efficient, this was fast, this was effective, this was helpful. We saw the value out of it. And I'm literally, we did 4 training sessions. I think one other team, we did a 5th session. We're not going to sit here and nitpick over, whether you do 4 or 5 30-minute sessions. This is just so fast and so low effort. Yeah, if it goes from 30 to 45 minutes, because they want to get to asking more questions. They really want to dig deeper because they're, and we just totally unstressed them. We just stressed them up front. Bam. Here's how it's going to be. Bam. And they all just did well. Okay, they just and we did this I think I did this 2 or 3 rounds each year. I was just doing mini auditing all the whole year, half the year. Just these little sessions. All the teams just want to prepare everybody. Just want to prepare them all so that they could pick anybody. We didn't have to tell teams and prepare them. We just pick any team that's been kind of going through this coaching, and it really, really just was successful. Okay, And I think the important thing here, from that, so I mentioned those 2 other kind of webinars I gave, and then I actually wrote in 2015 for Tradimatica, the kind of the online publication. I wrote an article called Translation Standards, Which One? And that's that one, where I kind of just reflected on all this experience I've just kind of mentioned, and I said, really, it comes down to is you just have to choose. The most important thing when you're doing all this, okay, is you gotta really know why you're getting into it, why you want to be um, certified. And I think that the film thing that you just, that you pinned to this company certification, I think that they kind of scare people too much there, just honestly, and saying, what if, the next day your translation buyer wants requires for you to, to be, ISO 17100 certified. That's not going to happen, okay, usually, to be honest. Now, I mean, in a general kind of thing. Now, buyers are really not into all these little detailed standards because there are so many other standards. They're lucky. You're lucky. Kind of the big companies. You're lucky if they even know what ISO 9000 is. Okay, and if they're familiar with that, and if you're ISO 9000 certified, that's enough. Okay, just enough. But then if you start going into, hey, you got to be, you got to be 17100 certified for all the translation kind of processes and stuff. And I mean, and if I can remember correctly, I mean that one was wasn't that was the 15038? Yeah. So it kind of got converted, got another name out of it when it went from the DIN over to the ISO. So it got a new number out of it. But and then there's like the one for post editing, the ISO standard for post editing and all that. And I mean, I've looked into all these and I decided not to go into them because I didn't see that it was really critical. Because I looked at all the criteria that were in them. I mean, as an auditor, I know this stuff, and I just kind of looked at it and said I didn't feel that I really needed to go through a certification process because I wasn't really actually working. Well, I was working the sales team, so the company didn't care. It's for me to have it because I'm not working I'm not the quality auditor guy. So I've done other jobs. So, but I think that the whole thing that comes down to here is when you're the only time in my experience where your supplier, or no, your translation buyer, okay, your translation buyer or your buyer, whoever your customer is, okay, where they require you to be certified, and that's where the difference between certified and compliant, okay. If you can show that you're compliant for a standard without being certified, hey, that works too. I mean, I've been through that. I've had that. Did that in companies. So I mean, just show them, hey, I'm a certified auditor. We're compliant. Okay, we weren't certified. The company wasn't certified, but that was okay. I mean, it just when you show them that you're doing, you show them how you're compliant. Hey, that it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Um, but the only times I've seen where you really have to become certified is where it's really bad. I mean, you're screwing up. Your company is screwing up so bad that they're just gonna rake you over. And usually you want to avoid getting to that situation. So by just kind of doing things and following things, and you can be, again, you can be compliant. You don't have to be certified for that. Uh, but I think that the whole thing, and I mentioned in that article in the Tradimatica, and I think that it's really important for people to read, is really why do you want to get into this? What's the reason? What are the benefits of being certified? I said, what's the and who will suffer from pursuing those, and how much time or resources are you willing to allocate to those? Um, and then how much is your management teams, are they willing to support that kind of uh, compliance and then certification? Um, and then what are you willing to sacrifice to really ensure that you got the certification? And it really, what do you mean by quality and how you interpret quality? Quality is kind of a fuzzy and kind of a really fuzzy word, to be honest. And I've actually got another video on quality. Um, and what do you want to measure? What do you want to measure through the whole auditing exercise? What's the purpose? And really, how well prepared are you to currently, when you're looking at it, to prepare for those audit cycles. And like I said, hey, I can do it, super fast, but that's because I've got the experience and know how to do this. And so I can promise that and package it and do it, but I know that other companies, they go through this, they just spend lots and lots and lots of time doing it, like I did in the beginning. I did too. But now I just make it super fast. And it works, and you got to get minimally thing. You don't want to get into too much, stuff, but I think that you got to look at it. Why do you want to get that certification? Okay. And I'm not talking about the certification of a person here, because I got certification as an auditor. But why does the company want to kind of want to have that certification? Um, And is it just because you want a unique selling point on your business card? Because I'll tell you, those business cards, hey, that was a selling point, and be able to say that user conference to all the users, that was a selling point. I'm not kidding here. This is just a gold mine of just trust. I mean, just, I think that those things on my business card is probably half of the reason why I got all the sales, because I was able to build that trust through that. Uh, but but then do you want to do that, or do you actually really do you want to and do you really want to improve your internal processes, continuous improvement, and all that? Do you really want to do that? You kind of have to determine that if that's what you really want to do. Uh, or is it because it's being imposed? Okay, like the third one, which is that the video said from that company, and so these three kind of scenarios, I just say, hey, the first one you got to know which one of these are actually what's your pursuit of this? What's the reason for this? So so I really encourage people to go watch my go read or watch those webinars, those articles, and and start with those to kind of get an idea of why you're doing it. Because I don't always tell companies to go through the certification process because it costs money. Okay, it costs money to go through this thing, um, and you can fast track it time wise. Okay, to do it, but you got to have the time. And like, how big is your company? How much time do you got to do on this? And how much of your time and your production resources to do this? They have to do this. You're gonna have to think through it. Um, and sometimes it's not appropriate, to be honest, or it's just not the right time. It's just not the right time. Um, or it's just okay to kind of, I said, just do it to show compliance for minimum so that the people are awareness, and that, and they can ask their questions stuff, but don't go through the entire certification cycle because it's going to take a few months. You got to go through the getting the audit schedule. You got to go through an internal audit, then an external audit or the external auditor thing, and it kind of just depends. But so I'd say just it doesn't always fit, uh, but it's good to have it. It's just really good to have it. And like I said, hey, it's been I started like in my three questions is it imposed business compliance, or is this really to improve your continual process improvement, or is this a unique selling point? And I've actually had all three. The first one is imposed, and then we really want to improve, and then I went to another job. I really want to improve things to get it so we wouldn't get into that imposed situation. And then, hey, in the end, the business card was just a selling point for sales growth, and just companies really need to think about this. Why they want to go through this stuff, and is it worth it? Do they want to invest in it, or do they want to invest? How much they want to invest in it? Time and resources and money. Okay, so sorry I've made this more than a couple minutes because I didn't really plan how long this was going to be, but I kind of wanted to tell the story because I think this helps position. Um, I mean, if I was going to consult, if I go in a webinar, this is exactly what I'd say. So I've actually been faster in most webinars. Or if I go into a consulting kind of opportunity and say, this these would be the first questions I'd ask actually to the company. And I tell them, hey, I would not do it if I were you, or I do it, but I'm warning you how long it's going to take, or that you can fast track and all that. It kind of just depends on the situation. So, and I can smell it. I can smell it if you put me with all the production people, and I just start blasting questions at them, and like I can figure out in 5 minutes where they're at. Just I know where they're at. And then I can kind of quickly assess, how much they're going to want to go into this or not. And in the end, the company's going to make money, So sometimes it's just not the right time to do it, to invest, because this is an investment time. You got to put some time into it. Again, it can be fast, but you still got to, you got to have the right resources to do this, to be able to do this. I'm not saying that anybody can come in and do these 30-minute sessions. I mean, I can do this because I really know how to do this, but most people won't be able to do that fast. So it's kind of, you just have to decide on what is the uh, again, those several questions. The articles in the paper, the videos, the webinars, they kind of discuss it too. And so thanks for taking the time to listen. And hey, I'm willing, glad to hear feedback on this. What I'm talking about here. So and have a good day.